Media Dialogues in 2022.
Hi, welcome to Media Dialogues. I'm sure you've heard YouTube content creators contributed some 6,800 crore rupees to India's GDP in 2020. Ad spent on digital media has already overtaken print and is likely to go past television this year. Content creators who perform or present their content are the undisputed stars of this digital ecosystem. To find out what makes them tick, how they negotiate the brand ecosystem and what their expectations are, I'm talking to two very popular people with millions of followers. First up, welcome Prajakta Koli. She's also called Mostly Sane. She has over 12 million followers across social media and has been feted globally and here for her work. Joining her, Ranveer Allahbadia, also known as Beer Biceps. He's a digital content creator, entrepreneur, podcaster, and investor. It's lovely to have both of you on this show. Thank you for making time. How do you react to that bit of news that's come out? YouTube content creator, 6,800 crore rupees of GDP. Are you saying, oh, we already knew this was so valuable? Prajakta?
Honestly, I didn't in my head, didn't think that it would get there so quickly. I mean, we definitely knew that the digital platforms are here to stay, the way kind of creator economy boomed, especially during the lockdown. In my mind, I was like, yeah, eventually we'll reach a point where it will be substantial. But when I did read that, oh, the point is here. I mean, this is a number we can put on the paper, I think was very reassuring.
Ranveer, Prajakta just mentioned to the lockdown acceleration that happened for the digital ecosystem. Was that something that was very obvious as creators to you between before and after COVID?
Yeah, so basically, I remember going for this one conference with Prajakta this one time where we were presenting in front of a massive FMCG company, and we were trying to convince them that influencer marketing is the next thing. And this happened 3 years ago. And I remember everyone in the room kind of ganged up on us, but it was 4 creators who were trying to explain the benefits of influencer marketing. That's why all this feels fantastic. We anticipated these kind of booms would happen in 2025, but COVID accelerated the world's culture. It's important to speak about all the people behind the scenes as well.
Yeah.
The management, the entire ecosystem, the aspect of job creation, and most importantly, the fact that a lot of digital creators are now going to move on to even bigger things like becoming investors in the Indian startup ecosystem, create companies, etc., etc.
Then we just talked about the FMCG presentation. What was it like? What were you hearing from brands, and what are you hearing from brands and marketers today? Are they singing a completely different tune, and are you calling the shots today?
No. I think, honestly, and I think Ranveer will agree with me on this. We have very regular calls where we discuss these things amongst ourselves. But I mean, I've had the pleasure of working with the most amazing, with the funnest, most collaborative brands. But every now and then, someone you will meet, the conversation starts off very different, and then when we get closer to shoot date, closer to upload date, when creative feedback starts getting exchanged, it reaches a point where honestly, if you just remove the creator from that brand brief,
wow,
it's TVC,
Yeah.
It is like that. I recently did some work where we were in such a tight spot with the brand because they kept saying things like, but you've been paid, but the money has been transferred. And we were just like, you do understand that I'll use the money, and then once my credibility goes for a toss, I'll not earn any money anymore, right? So I remember the fight even then was that a lot of times brands come with this kind of approach to creators, not kind of making it collaborative, and then they say कि यार influencer marketing वगैरह तो चलता है नहीं, numbers तो हमें दिखते हैं नहीं, it's very like that. So I remember that was a conversation, but again, I think I'm very, very fortunate and in a place where I get to work with people. I mean, definitely the narratives have changed a lot. I think a lot of people kind of understood even during the lockdown how content is consumed and processed overall. I generally think that they also understood because they were also stuck at home and watching everything on their phone. So finally, it was first-hand experience. We still have a few people who have very traditional television kind of approach to branded content, but we're getting there. I mean, most brands are now very, very collaborative.
So it's work in progress for brands in your experience.
For
Ranveer,
sure. But it's a step forward for sure.
Step forward for sure. Does that, do you have the same experience, or are things a little different from the way you see it?
Yeah, I think the good news is that there's a lot of brands that are willing to take up influencer marketing. So I think we've reached a point. Prajakta and me have both been doing this for about 6 to 7 years now, and we've reached a point where we're blessed enough to get a buffet of options, and we prefer working with people who give us creative freedom.
Yeah.
Because let's call a spade a spade. The reason they're working with us is because of the size of our communities. So we've built those communities over 6 to 7 years, and we know the kind of content that those communities will react to the best. Which is why when we're given creative freedom, we understand that we're both a B2C product and a B2B product, where we want to cater to the community in the B2C format, but we also want to make sure that the brand gets its value for money in a B2B format. So over time, when we're given creative freedom, we kind of know what to do best. That's how I look at it.
Right. So creative freedom is something that you all are prioritizing. Do you find yourself saying no often to brands, especially big brands? Because I'm looking at the roster of some of the brands that both of you have worked with, you know, Coin DCX, Prime Video, BPL, Samsung, Razorpay, Gillette, Oreo. Some of them are really big brands. Some of them are iconic brands. Do you really get leeway? And are you in a position where you can say, hey, you know what? I don't want your money because what you want me to do is not something that's true to me. Basically, I guess what I'm trying to say is, where's the balance of power?
I'll be very honest with you. When we had started doing brands, naya, तब we were, I think, in the space कि नहीं जो आ रहा है वो कर लो, पैसे कमाने हैं. You have to make a substantial amount of money every month, and it takes quite some time to get the ball rolling, especially when we started 7 years ago, on digital marketing. So in the beginning, we were in that space, but I think we are very, very aware of the fact, like Ranveer said, that every opportunity, a branded one, a creative one, whichever, comes our way only and only because of the kind of trust and the kind of relationship that we share with our audience. And I think we are 100% responsible to make sure that we nurture that going forward, because it keeps getting bigger, touch wood. I'm very, very grateful. And that kind of keeps you even more aware. So I think we're now in a space, in fact, the opposite, you know, instead of being in a space where, okay, chalo, let's do it, we're actually in a space where we know exactly what we want. And I'm not talking about monies. I'm talking about the kind of conversations, the kind of messaging, the kind of ethics that we kind of want to align with brands and then take that forward. I think because we have that much clarity over the past few years from experience, I think we know कि अच्छा चलो इस direction में जाना है, and this is how it will work. Now, if the brand ethos or the brand ethic does not quite go well, then it could be a very big brand. But I think we understand that once our credibility goes for a toss, it's a long, long way back up from that hole. So,
Ranveer?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much more to add to that answer. But I'll tell you what, you know, at this stage, it's kind of a personal choice whether or not you want to work with the exact mandate given. But I don't think in like the longest time there's been, I mean, we've always had a conversation with the brands in terms of, listen, this is what we think will work the best. I also feel when you work in this industry, being a content creator for this long, you are respected to a certain degree as a marketeer. So brands are always willing to listen. And that's the big difference post-COVID. I think people have understood the dynamic of influencer marketing, where it's best if the influencer does have some creative input in the campaign.
What are the metrics that they are using and you are using to negotiate what this is worth?
Sure. So the beautiful thing about both Instagram and YouTube, which are, I think, our primary platforms, is that they have a massive amount of analytics that can be provided. In fact, YouTube has even allows you to see which city in India you're getting your views from, your subscribers are from. You get very detailed demographics. So every brand usually comes in with their own agenda. someone wants sales. It's usually the startups that want sales or downloads of their app. Someone like the big brand just want branding. Someone else wants views. You know, if it's like one of the brands somewhere in the middle, not completely established, but not a startup either. So once you understand the exact mandate given to you by the brand, as a creator, you can kind of tailor make a campaign that will help them hit the mark. Again, we're B2B businesses, we're B2B services at the end of the day. So you got to understand what your client wants, help them deliver, because you want to keep making money in the long term. You want them to come back in the long term. So it's a combination of both data as well as a little bit of intuitiveness that you pick up as a creator.
Intuitiveness as a creator, Prajakta, what's the reaction you're getting from your communities to the branded content? Because I was, on your Instagram page and there's a lot of cool stuff, but I suddenly then come across 1, 2, 3 paid partnerships, almost one after the other. Is there any blowback? Is there a sense of, hey, yaar, don't keep pushing me messages? Is that something you hear? And is that something you have to be careful about? Is there a balance that you have to draw?
No, definitely. I mean, you can, like Ranveer said, I think because there's so much content online, you can see an everyday change in your analytics on Instagram and YouTube. Aaj ye chala, aaj ye nahi chala, today engagement is up, today engagement is not up. So balance is definitely there. But I think, the audience calls it as it is. You know what I'm saying? That's the good thing about being online, is that your audience is brutally honest with the kind of content that you put out. I mean, there are certain videos where we couldn't completely kind of meet midway, and sometimes it, tilts on either side.
Sure.
Sometimes more towards the brand and then it doesn't work for us. Sometimes more towards me and it doesn't work for me and the brand. I recently uploaded a reel with Gillette, I think a couple of weeks ago. That is one of my best performing reel in that week.
You're saying the followers and the community doesn't have a problem with a lot of your posts or content becoming commercial, promotional work. Is that the way you see it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think so. I hope.
Hope so. Yeah.
That is the kind. Like, I haven't had any resistance from their side yet. They have been very supportive to everything. So I haven't felt any resistance yet. But I think it's all about understanding that it can't just be a sales page. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I think it's all about having priorities in place, where I know that my social media is, especially my Instagram is my #1 place to engage with my audience. And as long as I can fulfill that, I think they kind of accept everything that comes along with it.
Right. Ranveer, you use the word intuition, intuitive, marrying intuition with data analytics. I want to know how much of intuition you can use when there's such overwhelming data presented. In fact, a lot of marketers there, or a lot of veteran marketers, let's put it like that, are dismayed at the fact that so much data is presented to you that sometimes very big creative ideas don't go through because the numbers and the data seem to go against it. Is that something you see happening? And I want a personal take. When you're making a decision about a piece of work, how much do you let the data dictate what it will be, how it will be?
So that's the beauty of content, that we're not working for massive advertising houses. We have a lot more control. I once read a book about intuition and what the meaning of the word intuition truly is from a practical standpoint. And it basically meant pattern recognition. Intuition is your mind processing a lot of data so fast that you just come up with an answer and you think that, okay, that'll work. But at the end of the day, it's basically your mind being a supercomputer. Now, what I mean by that is, let's take, for example, even Prajakta. She's always being humble in her answers, but I'll tell you the truth about Prajakta as a social media content creator. She's one of the most hardworking ones, and she's one of the most consistent ones. But more importantly, she's built out a friendship with her entire community by uploading so much content over the years. She's someone who uploads something every day. Now, when you've already kind of done so much beta testing, when you put out so much content, you know exactly with pinpoint accuracy what will work and what won't work. Which is why when you have creative freedom to work on influencer marketing campaigns, you'll be able to tie in the brand's requirements with the patterns that end up working.
So you're saying that data and intuition they sort of manage to coincide at some point for you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, 100%. You can't rely completely on data. You can't rely completely on guesswork.
Do you
It's got to be.
do you see an over reliance on data? Do you see an over reliance on data?
I see older professionals from the startup space and the marketing space coming into influencer marketing and saying that you should dictate everything through data. That's not the way to work right now.
That's interesting.
Yeah, there has to be an element of intuition.
You just talked about the kind of knowledge you have about this medium because of the early start. You all were the early adopters, right? So if you were to give me tips, both of you, if I want to get started, what would you say? Because Ranveer, you just said she was populating her feeds with so much content so religiously. That's one thing. You have to be out there all the time. If we take that as a starting point, each one of you, what are the tips? Go first, Ranveer. For free, huh? Advice for free.
Only if you guys subscribe to my channel. No, I'm kidding. But what I will definitely say is you need to enjoy the job. Yeah. You need to enjoy the attention. You have to be an inherent attention seeker a little bit because otherwise you're not going to enjoy the job. It is not an easy job profile, contrary to what a lot of people think. Therefore, you have to have an element of you has to enjoy writing, filmmaking as well. The business stuff will follow.
Prajakta?
I think
you have to enjoy the attention.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. Like two things I think that have really helped me. Number one is that consistency is very, very important, and the meaning of consistency changes as you grow up and you understand your roadmap, because there is no blueprint for this job that we all love doing. Nobody's done it the way we are doing it. They've done it differently, so everybody has their own lessons. And number two, I think like Ranveer said, that it's extremely important that you enjoy the attention, but also you serve the platforms and not the other way around. I think that's the only way to keep our sanity in place, because it's a beautiful world, but it's also a mad world. So pick your battles.
Ranveer, you're out there doing interviews with newsmakers and celebrities. You're giving out your take on everything from masturbation to the Mahabharata and everything else in between. So my question to you is, it's very clear that you're focusing on men. You're talking to your bros out there, right? I mean, because there is a certain distinct identity that you're having to create.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I kind of look at that as a mistake I made in the first 5 years of my career.
Oh,
that just
really?
Addressing only men. And I think, when you grow up as a boy in this country, I mean, there is a lot of latent sexism which you witness around you when it comes to the women, but you're not able to absorb all of it. And as you grow up as a man, you date people, you meet people, you make incredible friends. Like Prajakta has been like an incredible friend to me throughout this journey. And the amount I've learned through people like her, it kind of encouraged me to understand the feminine mind. And therefore, in the last 2 years, we've been doing a lot of women's content as well. The way I look at this career, especially the kind of content I create, it is a version of thought leadership. I know that when I talk about things like yoga and meditation, it's better than an old person speaking about it, because teenagers and college kids can relate to me. Therefore, I have the power to create change. And after a point, you're kind of done with the glamour, the money, the fame, and you want to give back to society. So it's not just in the form of content and helping society become a better place.
There was some blowback to some casual statement you made about women and clothes, and so you were accused of being a sexist, a casual sexist. Is this something that that you engage with? Do you and Prajakta, do you all as content creators also get trolled and blowback the way journalists do, public figures do?
So, we're living in the age of short content, and a lot of things can be taken out of context to the degree where, see, we're also growing up in front of the whole world. So there have been many points. It wasn't just that one point in this entire 7-year journey. There have been mistakes made by me, and I've gone out, I've apologized for it in the content. The key is to kind of learn, keep enjoying the job, move on, correct your mistakes, and keep becoming a better content creator, because your thoughts do influence how people think. But again, a lot of stuff is taken out of context because of short content.
Prajakta, Ranveer's just credited you with sort of helping him watch over this journey, his evolution as from boy to man.
Oh God, that just sounds wrong, Aaron.
So
I would like to make it very clear I had nothing to do with this evolution.
now I can't ask you my question, which is how far do you think he's come on this journey?
Oh dear Lord. No, I'll tell you what. Ranveer is just so annoying. Yeah, he just keeps doing this everywhere we go. It just,
It becomes about him. It becomes about him.
No,
I'll tell you what. Right now in this moment, it's about this beautiful week, because it started with the beautiful Anuradha Sengupta, and now it's
flattery will get you everywhere.
That's how his evolution is happening. No. I met Ranveer for the first time, and back when we used to have a YouTube space in India. We don't have it anymore. But I remember meeting him there, and which was about, I think, a good 6 years ago, for sure. 6-7 years ago. 6 years ago. We had both just started. And it was a very regular conversation. I don't even remember how Ranveer and I actually got friends, but I've always remembered confiding in him, because as creators, it's a very mad job. Yeah. Not everybody gets it. My closest friends would see me crying over something and be like, but it'll be fine, because they also, in their defense, they don't know what to say to me that'll help me get through something like this, which is where a Ranveer, which is where a Bhuvan, actually, I'm very grateful to have in my life, because these are friends that actually, we get each other's struggles and we get what we're.
I find it very interesting that there seems to be a cohesiveness amongst some of y'all. Is that unusual, this kind of, solo, individual content creators, but, a loose affiliation where you're looking out for each other, and that's obviously something that you can rely on, and it helps all of you. Is that something unusual with this business?
I have never found it unusual. I have had the pleasure of, everybody, Bhuva and Ashish, I used to be fans of them when a while ago. And then the fact that I get to call them friends, I think is, I'm very grateful for that. But no, I don't think it's unusual at all. I think, it's kind of a misconception where everybody just thinks, ये तो एक दूसरे को hate करते होंगे, they are in the number game, they want to get better than each other. But I think we all come from very, very different journeys. Like I said, there's not one roadmap to get to wherever that we are. B, I think we've reached a point where we understand that numbers and places on the chart are very dynamic, because right now the kind of content that's getting consumed from across the country, there really, like I've said this before, there really isn't a pyramid anymore where, more subscribers, you're on top. Otherwise, you're on bottom. It's actually a globe where it really depends on who is watching you, more than how many are watching you. You know what I'm saying? So I think
it's the quality of engagement, it's the quality of the community also that's becoming important. That's what you're saying.
And there's an audience for everything. Every single thing, there's an audience sitting and watching, spending time and money.
Who are you following, Ranveer? Who are the people that interest you or excite you as you? Not because you're competing in the business or you're watching what other people are doing, but just for your own entertainment or information or enjoyment.
So according to me, a lot of the international content creator culture usually trickles down to India. It'll probably be a month later or 6 months later or a year later. So we look at a lot of international creators for reference points, honestly, because we don't have too many reference points in the Indian ecosystem. There's people like Gary Vaynerchuk, Joe Rogan. I can name a ton of YouTube channels that I end up watching. Nerdstalgic, Charisma on Command. But I think my favorite new internet personality is Anuradha Sengupta. That's who
Oh
I'm.
man, Prajakta, this is my promo is going to be that, and my followers will
Telling you.
increase because
I'm
I'm
telling
watching
you.
you guys and I'm saying, oh man, 5-6 years ago I should have just jumped off television. What was I doing?
This
But
is his strategy of moving from an all man subscriber base to like all women.
I see through it, but I still enjoy it. I must
You know, you
admit.
should see Ranveer. Ranveer is such a charmer. Okay,
But
I
Prajakta,
mean, he is. You walk into a room with Ranveer, and Ranveer is a full charmer. Everybody's like, "Oh, I love your dress. Oh, you're gorgeous," and I'm just like, "Cut it off. What are you doing, Kausha?"
okay, Prajakta, I'm going to remind you of the fact that you have a movie debut. I'm not talking about the Netflix stuff that's already done, but you've got a Dharma production.
Yes, ma'am.
That's like a big kick-ass movie debut, right? Do you feel that things are going to change forever when that happens? Do you see yourself able to continue with the digital content creator career that you've done? Because that's a new world. I mean, you will still be online, you'll still be out there, but that's a new world. It's a different level of glamour.
I mean, I know that I'll definitely be creating content online because I'm very aware of the fact that every opportunity that comes my way stems from
that.
the audience that follows me online. I remember, in fact, I was shooting with Karan yesterday when he spoke about how he watched Khayali Pulao and he really liked my work there. He watched Mismatch, which is again OTT.
Yeah.
So I think I completely understand that every opportunity that's coming my way is because of the work that I've done online for so long. So I'm definitely not quitting that. Having said that, I am very, very nervous and excited about this. I'm not a very good processor of nerves, so I've kind of let that to be a second week of June problem. I'm not going to freak out about that anytime now. But yeah, I mean, I am hoping that it does open up a bunch of new doors, and I'm hoping that I get to collaborate more, work more, definitely. But also, another thing that I'm doing with my life as a YouTuber is that for the first time in more than 7 years, I've actually taken a back seat from uploading regular comedy content every week.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, because now my team and I mean, there were a few ideas that I've always had, but life was in so much chaos. Right after lockdown opened up a little bit, it just got crazy. Ki nahi, chalo, kaam karna. That I never really got to a place where I started enjoying writing. I used to not like writing as much as I used to enjoy before. So I decided that, like Ranveer said, it's very important that we enjoy this process.
And are you enjoying, do you have a song and dance routine in the movie? I'm guessing with Varun Dhawan.
I do.
Oh, lovely. We're going to look forward to that. But a couple of quick last questions. Ranveer, celebrity, influencer. There are two distinctions right now. I mean, when you look at the Advertising Standards Council of India, a celebrity is different from an influencer. Today, you're an influencer or celebrity? How do you see yourself?
I think anyone becomes a celebrity when they do something outside of the world of social media. And that's the dark truth about the influencer game, that you'll be bracketed as just an influencer or just a content creator if you're only doing social media. The moment you start doing things outside of it, you're in another bracket.
So fair to say that that Prajakta is moving from influencer to celebrity and you're on the way, unless I've missed something.
I think the entire first generation of YouTubers is thinking about what to do next. So we have a lot of people getting into the world of film in some aspects. Someone wants to become a director, someone wants to become an actor. For me personally, I want to get deeper into my entrepreneurial game. That's always been the goal.
I've been reading
So I like taking up that spot of being like maybe India's answer to, again, this is because of a lack of reference points, but India's answer to some sort of an Ashton Kutcher version who's very involved in Silicon Valley, but also has sort of that glamour quotient.
Yeah.
So I think that's where I'm headed.
Well, I wish both of you a great deal of success. Prajakta, we're going to watch that movie. Ranveer, I'm going to watch what you get up to. And lovely, thank you. I wish you all good luck. Your energy and your individuality, creativity, all of it is very infectious. Good luck, guys. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Media Dialogues in 2022.